Okay, 6 things to avoid doing as a man. Starting with number 1, bad mouthing other people. It's not a good look. And it will cause people to not trust you. Now, you might think, nah, my friends will always trust me. Well, if you start talking crap about other people, they're going to start to become wary of who you are as a person, and they'll start to watch themselves around you and maybe not open up as much as they used to before. Don't be that guy in the friendship group who rushes to tell other people about someone else's problems or tries to separate the group by instigating. I mean, those are the worst characters. Absolute slime balls, people like that. They get a thrill out of it. They love seeing destruction and chaos when it comes to friendships and relationships. Don't be that guy. If someone did something stupid and you don't approve of it, in a social setting, then either talk to them about it privately. Be like, hey man, let me talk to you real quick. What's going on over there, man? Maybe they did something to someone else that was just a little bit off and, you didn't like seeing it. Speak to him privately. This is what a gentleman does. If something embarrassing happens to one of your friends, don't go and rush to other people to expose what's happened. No, man, you don't want to be that guy, because when you're on the receiving end of such a thing in the future, and your time will come. I know people say karma, well, I won't call it karma, right? But if you are someone who rushes to expose people when bad things happen to them, at some point it will be your turn, and you wouldn't like it if someone ran to a group of people and started exposing all of the bullshit that's happened to you. Okay, so have some decency and class. The second one is avoid prolonged periods of comfort. Now, comfort in of itself is not a bad thing, which is exactly why I added the word prolonged before it. The issue with prolonged periods of comfort is that it worsens you. You become weaker when you rest for too long. You need to be active. You need to be in the game. There's a saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. And this applies to communication. This applies to training in the gym, many things. If you're not actively engaging in the process, after a certain period of time, and this is why I said prolonged period of time, you will notice a drop in performance. You will notice that you're not as sharp as you were before. I've experienced that in the gym. If I've rested for too long, over a week, 2 weeks, I've noticed a dip in strength. When it comes to communication, my public speaking events, I've noticed in the past that if I go months and months without practicing my speaking skills in front of camera or in front of a group of people, an audience, I notice I'm a little bit rusty when I get back in the game. I'm not as sharp. My delivery isn't as good. So avoid prolonged periods of comfort. It will hurt you. Comfort is fine. Resting is fine. But don't rest too long. Okay? I mean, God created the universe in 6 days and took 1 day as rest. Why are you taking 7 days a week, every year as a rest period? You don't need that. Okay? The next thing to avoid is settling for mediocre relationships. And this applies in a romantic sense and also in a friendship sense. Don't settle for low vibration conversations. People that badmouth others, as I spoke about in point number 1. But also, if there's no connection there, if you're not clicking, then just don't continue to be around people like that anymore. Look, not everybody deserves to be your friend. It's okay if you take a step back and say, you know what, this group isn't really for me. Or, this guy he's a good guy, but I just don't enjoy being around him. Don't feel like, oh, well, I have to because I'm lonely. No, enjoy your own company. I would much rather spend time alone at a steakhouse somewhere, looking outside and watching cars go by, enjoying a nice, succulent, medium rare steak with sweet potato fries and some mushrooms. I'd rather enjoy that in my own company than be around some goofball who I can't take seriously just because I feel like I need to. No. Man, I love my own company. In fact, I look forward to it. I look forward to periods where I'm alone. So I can, watch a nice documentary, have a nice snack. I enjoy that. Okay, traveling by myself, I enjoy that. Oftentimes traveling solo is so much better than traveling with a large group. Because there's always problems when you're traveling with a large group. Someone's not happy with someone else and this and this. And so when you go by yourself, I'm not saying that you should always be by yourself. I'm not preaching loneliness here, right? But what I'm saying is I'd rather take being by myself over being around people that I just don't want to be, I don't feel comfortable being around. It's the same thing when it comes to relationships with women. Don't be with a woman that you're not quite convinced is the right woman for you. You're not that attracted to just because, well, she's available, she's right there. And I understand the whole concept of growing in love for somebody. And I do believe, and I heard this once in a lecture from this relationship coach where he said that compatibility is an achievement of love rather than something that you need from the get-go, meaning that you grow to love somebody. I believe that, right? But there's certain things that you need to have in place on day one in order for that love to grow. The most obvious for most men is attractiveness. If she's not that attractive in your eyes and you're just, okay, well, she'll do, then you'll grow to resent the situation. And it's not fair on the girl either. Why would you drag her along for such a long period of time if you're not that keen on being with her in the long term? Okay, if you're not that attracted to her. Of course, looks is just one thing, but there's many other things involved as well, which you should look at. But the point here is don't settle, because there are so many people out there that will tick all the right boxes for you in terms of romantic relationships and in terms of friendships. Right? I don't just want to have anybody as a friend in my life. No, I mean, look, I don't expect everyone to be an entrepreneur, this and this, into the same things as me. That's not realistic. And I speak to a lot of guys out there who are like, man, my friends aren't exactly the same as me. And I actually disagree with, the belief system that your friends need to be exactly like you. No, not everyone's going to be as ambitious as you, as fitness orientated as you are, as creative as you are if you're into music and art and things like that. Not everyone's going to share exactly the same level of interest in everything, in every area that you're interested in. So it's okay to have a friend that you hang around with and play the guitar with, but he isn't really business minded. It's okay to spend time with somebody who is a fitness freak and you both go to the gym together, but maybe he isn't, that fun to be around in terms of a personality, but he's great in the gym. So have friends for different purposes, right? Of course, there are going to be people that you meet in life that have a lot of crossover in the things that you're interested in. Maybe they like the gym, they like to talk about business, and they give great relationship advice and things like that. There's going to be people out there that share a lot of common interests, right? But not every friend has to share every interest that you have, okay? So avoid those low vibration relationships. The next thing to avoid is pornography and self-pleasure. I mean, this is one of the most destructive things that you'll ever do in life. Okay, pornography is a very dark industry. I've spoken about it countless times. It's exploitative, right? It's degrading to women, right? It's not something that leaves you feeling empowered after watching it. It's dark and dirty. You know it. Okay? And the fact that it doesn't leave you feeling empowered is in itself proof that you shouldn't be watching it. It rewires your brain to prioritize immediate pleasure over long-term pleasure. What's far more fulfilling in life is having a deeper connection with one person, right, over a surface level pixelated encounter on a website on page 27. Right, you'll enjoy the feelings of sexual release a lot more with a woman that you're madly in love with than you being in a dark room with your laptop open, dry lips. You get the story, busting nuts all over yourself, okay? Which one would you rather have? A beautiful girl that you're madly in love with, having sex with her, or you crouched like the hunchback of Notre Dame in your own bedroom, looking at your own reflection in between scenes, thinking, what a monster I am. I mean, what would you rather have? I know which one I'd rather have. Okay? So stay away from it. There's nothing wrong with the process of ejaculating. Right? I'm not saying that if you're releasing, that's in itself a bad thing. No. But what do you like the idea of more? releasing all over yourself, busting gallons all over yourself, or in a woman which you are madly attracted to and who is madly attracted to you, which could then eventually lead to a kid who shares both of your DNA, and you have a little mini version of you, a little junior, right? Come on now. Okay, so avoid it at all costs. Because look, people say, well, it's free and it's dangerous because it's free. Pornography is absolutely dangerous because of how free and widely accessible it is. Anyone. In fact, I see it as more dangerous than most physical drugs because it's just one website away. And it lures you in and in and in, and before you know it, I mean, you are destroying every aspect of your life, because that's what happens with an addiction like that. It starts off small, and then it starts to envelop every aspect of your life. It destroys all the good. Your gym habits are going to go down the drain, all the good habits, your nutrition habits. Everything affects everything. This is a quote I want you to remember. I heard it from Jim Rohn many years ago, and it stuck with me. Everything affects everything. There's no one single event that takes place. You watching porn every day is going to affect your commitment levels in other areas of your life. Because maybe you started off just quickly browsing, and then before you know it, it's been 2, 3, 4 hours of porn consumption, which could have been invested into yourself, into the business that you're working on, into learning an instrument, into spending time with your loved one. Maybe you're in a relationship. Why are you watching porn if you're in a relationship with a beautiful woman? Okay, so it starts to destroy all the good in your life. It's like a weed that grows roots and spreads all over your beautiful garden. You've got to destroy it before it spreads. Okay? The next thing is negative self-talk. Avoid negative self-talk. The words that you utter have a profound impact on the life that you live. They really do. In the same way that, pornography addiction is essentially a weed that grows in your garden and spreads, the words that you utter will plant seeds in your mind. Now, do you want to plant seeds for an oak tree or seeds for a weed that kills everything in your garden? Be careful of the words that you utter, because you can speak your way into having the life that you want or into having the life that you don't want. If you sit down and you just talk about why your life isn't going to plan and why you're lacking this and why you're lacking that, you start to accept that this is who you are, and you start to behave in that way, because thoughts lead to words, which lead to actions. We get a negative thought, which is normal. We all get negative thoughts. That in itself isn't a bad thing. But then you take those negative thoughts and you process them into words. I am always this. Maybe it's unlucky or whatever it is, right? You start saying these things, and then you start feeling worse because it affects how you feel. And as a result of you not feeling good, you don't go to the gym. You don't sit down and work on your business. You don't upload a YouTube video. And there's a series of negative consequences that take place, a chain of events. Now, alternatively, if you start speaking life into existence, if you start saying, man, I am just incredible at X, Y, or Z. Man, when I just put my head to something, it just works. I find a result. Man, I'm great at this. If you start saying these things, you start feeling better. I mean, just try it. After this video, spend 3 or 4 minutes just saying all the good things about yourself and what you're good at. And I know for a lot of you guys who lack self-esteem, you often feel like, man, I feel like I'm lying to myself. See, that's the problem, because for so long, all you've said about yourself is a bunch of shit. I'm bad at this, I'm bad at that. That's why you feel like crap. You don't feel like the kind of person that can go out there and achieve something in business, something in the gym, because all you've said to yourself is degrading, negative. So change the conversation. Try it as an exercise. You'll see how different you feel. You'll see how so much better you feel afterwards. Okay? And last but not least, avoid emotional turbulence or a lack of emotional control. You see, look, life is difficult. Life is difficult. That I'm fully aware of. We're going to have days where we feel great and days where we don't feel so great. We're going to have events that make us feel amazing and events that make us feel incredibly sad. But day to day, the day-to-day trivial issues that come up, do not let those trivial issues, such as loads of traffic, for example, don't let issues like that destroy your mood and make you feel bad. Because look, usually how you start your day is how you end your day. If you start it feeling crap and negative, you'll finish it feeling crap and negative, and then that will just continue. And I know people that get mad at the smallest inconveniences. Oh man, the queue for this coffee shop is so long, and they get really angry and upset. And I'm thinking, just go to a different coffee shop if you don't want to wait. Or wait. You've got nowhere else to be. Relax. Don't let the small things destroy how you feel. And look, in the context of relationships, gentlemen, if you're the kind of guy who's just emotionally up and down, women are going to feel turned off by you. Because men should portray this feeling of, or this aura of security and calmness to their woman. You know, that's why a lot of women say, my man is my rock. Because despite my emotional mood swings, and look, if we're honest, women experience emotional mood swings more than men due to hormonal changes and things like that. So you don't want to be another woman in the relationship, essentially. You don't want to be all over the place, and then she's all over the place, and then she feels like, I'm with another woman. Like, this person is in his feminine energy. I want to feel like he's my rock. I can confide in him. If I have a bad day, he's there as this lighthouse. Despite all the waves crashing at him, he remains calm. He's a stable figure in my life that is unfazed by the trivial issues of life. Now look, there are going to be events in life that will cause us to break down. That's perfectly normal. We're not robots. We're human beings. Deaths in the family, businesses shutting down. I'm not saying that you have to be unbothered at all. No, there are going to be events that will make you feel broken. And it's okay to grieve in certain situations like that. But you don't want to be the kind of guy who day to day is all over the place, angry because the food arrived cold and he's standing up and shouting. And just be like, you know, I'm the kind of person, if I go to a restaurant I've never been to before and the food was not so great, but it was tolerable but not great, not what I expected, I'm not going to stand up and, hey, cause a scene. No, I'm just going to take my loss, eat the food and get the hell out of there. I'm not going to go above and beyond to make sure that everyone hears me and things like that, right? Or I can just politely ask, hey, excuse me, sorry, the food is a little bit cold. It's okay if you heat it up for me. Polite way. I know some people that event will make them upset for the rest of the day. It's like, why? Or they can't find parking. Oh my God, what am I going to... Relax. Not every situation deserves an emotional outburst. It's okay. Things will be all right. In the grand scheme of things, you not finding a parking space right now isn't going to affect you. In the grand scheme of things. It may be slightly inconvenient right now. You may have to drive a little bit further out to find a parking space, but eventually you will. So calm down. It's okay. Learn to be stoic. There's a saying, you can learn a lot about a man by the size of the problems that bother him. Okay? Donald Trump said that in business, the one determining factor that he believes impacts your success the most as an entrepreneur is your ability to manage stress. And that's so true. I've seen it firsthand with people that have started businesses, people that I know personally. Those that just find a solution, that aren't in the mood to complain, are those that tend to do better. And then there are those that just, the smallest inconvenience and they're just angry, and people like that will struggle. Okay? So thanks for watching. Appreciate your time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, comment, let me know what you think down below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. See you in the next one.